Hello! Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. How are you all doing today? We're here tonight to watch another episode of Survivor. Let me know how the mic is sounding. Because I am still just experimenting with various mic settings at the moment. Sounds good. Okay. Are we? No, this is just a preview. I started listening to the Quinn deep dive and immediately was like, oh my god, my audio is messed up. I think I already talked about this. I did do a deep dive with Chelsea. Okay, this is this is a thing. Just before the episode starts, this is a bit of a thing. I get the excitement. A lot of people are like, how long? How long is the deep dive? This is not a competition, okay? We need to get that out of our heads. Some people have more time than others. It's a very exhausting thing to sit down and talk for, 4+ hours. What I will tell you is I talked to Chelsea ahead of time. Hold on. I'm peeking a little bit, I think. Maybe something like this. Maybe this is better. I talked to Chelsea beforehand and I let her know, these can go long. It is entirely up to you how long you want to go. She said, I would love for this to be, like 2.5 hours. I said, that is totally fine. It is entirely up to them how long they want to spend. Now, what I will tell you is we ended up having fun. She ended up staying longer than she intended. That's how I get them. And I will also say, I thought it was a very fun interview. It was, I think, like, she was very open. She was like super pleasant to talk to. I'm excited for you guys to listen. Thank you for all the subscriptions, by the way. I don't know if we've announced the date yet, but what I will tell you is I imagine sometime in the next few days, there will be a deep dive drop. All right, I think we're starting soon, not quite yet. Almost there. I feel like it's been starting later lately. Oh, I really need to watch Traders Canada for Netta. I just don't like the show, but I need to watch for Netta. All right, episode started. Commercial by, let's go 511. Peace, Nick. Maybe the 57th. Can I get is there another spoiled episode situation? I know last week it was a little spoiled. Got. There was a preview last night. Don't even want to look at Andy. Thanks, Megan. Such a smart play. Love it. This feels like it could be the completion to Andy's story, though. You know what I mean? I feel like that was such a like. It feels like they're trying to tell us, like, because where does he got it? He finished the arc. He's got to have to start a new arc, or I'm feeling worried for him. What I will say is that I feel like coming into this episode, I was feeling like this might be it for Kyle. But he was nowhere to be seen in that whole intro, so maybe not. I'm not sure. Craig, thank you. Here's the thing, even if this is it for Andy, it is still such a cool moment and such a great example of like carving out a space for you in a game that kept you out of it. Wow, we're getting like a whole recap though. This is like a winter montage. This really feels like a tribute to Andy's game. Which again makes me feel like it might be his boot episode. That's commercial at 5:10. An upset yes result. Next prediction. Oh, right. I meant to post on Blue Sky that I was live. Next prediction. Kyle confessional. Do we get a Kyle confessional? Because I'm feeling like he's already been mentioned as a target, I feel like this has got to happen at some point. Like we've got to start at least using him as a red herring in this episode. I have been seeing like articles about Blue Sky. It's gaining a bunch of viewers and users and stuff. I feel like the failure of Threads has made people a little hesitant, like me, because I wanted Threads to work, and Blue Sky existed then too. I actually made my Blue Sky account like a year ago or whatever. But it seemed like everyone was going to Threads at the time. And I'm not gonna lie, probably one of my biggest things against Blue Sky is that the like username thing looks super ugly. Like mine is at TaranArmstrong.bsky.social. Why are we seeing that? Like I get it, like different people come from different domains. I don't really fully understand that. But like it just looks ugly. Just fix that, you know? But also I can't control what I get notified for. So I just had to turn off all notifications, which is not helpful. But I feel like I was like, yeah, let's do Threads, I guess. But then Threads sucked. I can't remember why. Threads was really annoying. I think because I couldn't turn off suggested posts or something. I think that might still be the case. I'm not sure. We're back anyway. Sam being anti-lava is the call. But he's playing along for now. Saul good, huh? Every once in a while, I get really annoyed that like this could easily be Asia. You know what I mean? Like this could easily be Asia in this exact spot. And it was just like I can't imagine how she must feel, you know what I mean? Like I feel that way. How must she feel like watching this and you know what I mean? It's funny that Sam is immediately predicting. Hey, here's Kyle. Sam's predicting a Squid Games twist here. As is Kyle. Unless they said it straight up, I wasn't listening. So we're at the challenge right now. So I'm gonna run a new prediction real quick. This is 4 teams. Is that right? It looks like there's 4 stations. 5 teams? Yeah, there's 5. Okay, I need to figure out how it works. Oh, that's where the 4 came in. All right, how do I want to do this? Which team is eliminated? Which team? Hold on. I'm going to run out of characters. Oh, jeez. Oh, boy, this is why we're doing it so early, huh? Okay, we'll talk about that twist in just a second. The prediction is which team is going to be out right before the final. So there's 2 teams that drop initially, and then a 3rd team that drops right before they split into individuals. What is that 3rd team, the one that drops out just before the final? That is the prediction. I love Genevieve's strategy of using the buff as like a mask. Wow, Sam and Andy. Demolished. They ripped it right off. That is kind of on them, I think. Yeah. They pulled too early. I mean, in the moment, I think it's a fair call because basically it seems like they tried to pull it out before uncovering it enough, and that's why it tore. Oof. This makes it feel even more like it's got to be Andy's episode, you know what I mean? The fact that he came so close. Bro, thank you for the 35th. All right, 21% had on Andy and Sam. 26% had it on Rachel and Caroline. So almost 50% of the vote already wrong. Okay, let's talk about this twist for a second. Four people not voting based on challenge performance, based on a pretty physical challenge performance. That's brutal. Heather, thank you for the 56th. Now, there's a way to earn it back. We'll see what that is. I guess I'll hold on final judgment until we see what the way to earn it back is. But like what are we doing here? I feel like there have been so few rounds in the post merge that they've just let play out. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, if Sam and Andy don't accidentally rip the bag, then I mean, we are looking at very likely. I don't even know which team came up. Was it Teeny and Salt? Which team was third? Jen and Sue was third. So if that's the case, then yeah, if not for them ripping the bag, all of the men get through and don't lose their vote. Jen and Sue are second. I thought that might have been the case. Either way, you do this challenge, you know who's probably not losing their vote. Outside of a specific scenario. Survivor's usually not like bad about this. But in general, I just don't like tying something like a vote into challenge performance. Like, I haven't been that down on the losing your vote thing based on the beware advantage stuff. I know a lot of people have, but I feel like at least it is a choice. There's like a risk reward thing going on. We're back. I mean, Kyle is probably the most likely to win in the final stage, but they haven't really done a lot of this kind of stuff. I don't actually know what the finish of this is. Is it just getting to the top? Or they have to cross the beam? I don't remember how they performed on the beam in a previous challenge. But I think Sue and Genevieve might have this like first place here. I feel like I'd take my shoes off. So those shoes are huge. Wow, Teeny crushes. Sue going too slow. Oh, but makes it. Kyle and Gabe are going to be out. Oh, except Saul. Basically, there is a threshold where you just aren't really capable of doing a balance beam. Kyle, you can just leap it from halfway. Yep. Oh my god. Oh my god. Saul over and game over. Wow. Whew, that was the most exciting challenge I've watched on Survivor in a long time. Instant classic. You know why that was so good? Can I explain to you why that was so good? Because I think you all know. We literally watched it play out in one wide shot happening at the same time. All right. Sue and Jen were the third out before the final. Prediction, who wins immunity? Kyle, Gabe, Saul, Teeny. 30 seconds on the clock. Make your prediction quick. Gabe's face looks so miserable. This is genuinely a competition. I believe that climbing experience would help. It's not going to make it less painful, but you're a lot more used to this kind of thing. Aerial skills, yeah. Any kind of like acrobatic skill, especially if you're used to dealing with pain. Super, super useful in something like this. I don't know. I feel like Teeny should have this. I'm not sure. It's hard. I doesn't look like it's like they're sized. How could they be? They didn't know who'd be here. I think Teeny's size helps them here in this comp. Similarly, Saul. But I think Kyle's height is a disadvantage here. I think. Kyle's weight is going to be more downward because he can't spread like the angle of his legs. Oh, and down goes both Teeny and Saul. Maybe I'm wrong. If it were me, I would rather be able to angle my legs out into the wall more rather than have to hang on the hold as much. Those are tiny. I'd be like, Jeff, can I get my climbing shoes, please? So the advantage theoretically of being taller with longer limbs is that it might be easier to hold yourself up with your arms. But it might also be too awkward of an angle, I'm not sure. Chill, Jeff. Oh, and down he goes! I said, coming into this episode, I felt like this might be Kyle's episode. I am still kind of feeling like that might be the case. Could be Kyle or Andy, based on all the other Andy content. But an Andy downfall would be very fast. Kyle makes a lot more sense. Why not just do a retake? You drop the necklace. All right, 4% on Gabe. I think that answers the spoiled question. How many people win their vote back? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, basically what I was trying to say is that, like, in climbing, if you have a really small foothold, or like a really like slopey one, like just if it's a very, very bad foothold, not good to stand on, what you normally try to do is not stand on it like, if this is it, right? This is it, the edge of this. They're standing on it like, you know, they have the edge of their foot like this. You don't want to be putting your weight straight down as much as you can, because there's just a tiny little bit there. What you want to do as much as possible is just smush your foot into the wall as well as the hold to create some friction and to like just get more of your weight coming in like this rather than straight down like this, if that makes sense. So what that means for somebody like Kyle who has like really long legs is that because the angle of his legs are like shallow, narrower because they're so long, his weight is going to be on the ledges. More of his weight is going to be on the ledges than somebody who has shorter legs who could like smush their foot into the wall as well. If that makes sense. I don't. I'm not trying to claim to also like know for sure. That's just because like climbing is not the same as that. So it's entirely possible that what I'm saying isn't relevant to this particular situation. Because I think it is largely going to be about pain management. And that could just be like, how can you manage pain in your foot? How much like meat is on your feet? I don't know. How many nerve endings? Like there's all kinds of different things that could probably impact it. And then I do also think a huge portion of it is how much weight can you hold with your arms to take weight off of your feet as well. But I mean, clearly Kyle is just very good at those kinds of challenges in general. He's performed really well on most of them, but we're back. We're back. Jeez, those sandwiches are making me hungry. Does anyone in the chat have the same experience that I definitely would have on Survivor? Where like sometimes the first thing you eat makes your mouth all tingly? Is that just a me thing? Like the first bite of something that day, if you haven't eaten for a while? Tingly in a not great way, to be honest. It's especially if it's something like really sugary, I think, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm seeing some people like, no, that's not normal, but then other people being like, I know exactly what we're talking about. Yeah, like a lemon reaction, kind of, yeah. Do a blindside on Kyle. Ooh, Genevieve making a play. We talked about this. We had a very relevant conversation on we did a stock watch Survivor Global crossover with Shannon. That's funny. Waiting. This could be Genevieve's episode. I feel like all of my draft team is in danger right now. Three of you. Wow, they answered the question just in time. 3 people win their vote back. So now the question is, who does not get their vote back? Andy, Sam, Rachel, or Caroline. Who does not get their vote back? Okay, so this twist wasn't 4 people lose their votes. This twist was 1 person loses their vote, but it's still challenge based. What I would hope is that this challenge is more than just a challenge, and it's a little bit like mental, if that makes sense. Like interactive, social strategy kind of thing. What's interesting to me about Genevieve's edit is that she was so absent in the first few episodes. Then she comes out strong. And I think there was at least a theory by me, which was, oh, well, she was absent in the first few episodes because they were protecting her from association with Rome. However, now they're like making a point of being like, hey, remember she was in an alliance with Rome. He was her ally. Granted, at this point in the season, I'm not sure. The casual audience might feel a lot better about Rome. I feel like the way he left was pretty, like, endearing. But, like, I don't know. It's interesting to me. I'm still mostly looking at Sam or Teeny. But Saul and Rachel have been coming in pretty hot lately. I just feel like Sam and Teeny have like a longer credit history, if that makes sense. Like Sam and Teeny were like main character energy from day one. Rachel and Saul have had a little bit of a slower start, which doesn't preclude them from being the winner edits, but like that's part of why I'm feeling like Sam and Teeny still. And then you have the Andy wild card. You have the Genevieve wild card. And it's feeling kind of rough for Kyle, but I'm not like completely out on him yet. I'm not feeling super strong about my team at the moment, edit wise. Though I do feel great about them as players at this point. I don't think Gabe, Sue, even Caroline has had a strong presence, but I just don't see the winner edit there. She's been like, I feel like she's a good player, but I feel like the edit hasn't been strong enough. Like, she's been present, but always in the background. She's never had like a main character moment. All right, we're back. You said everyone agreed, Teeny, but I did not hear Genevieve really agree. What if Gabe flips this on Jen? I don't think that would be good for Gabe. I feel like this is a winning... Like, this is a winning spot for Gabe if he can make this work. Okay, I do have an opinion about how she pitched this. I do like this bit. Okay, I'm actually going to retract some of the thoughts that I haven't said yet. But I'll walk you through it after. Kyle getting a confessional here is weird to me. Unless it's just a one-off, I feel like there's a reason we just heard from Kyle. Doors, thank you, 11th. Oh, they're playing like reverse Jenga. I don't love this. This feels kind of random. I mean, I'll always take random over unfair. Like, how do you decide the order? I feel like... Is there a way to place a piece? Oh, there you go. That's a great one by Caroline. Oh, except it righted itself. No, don't put it there. Put it on top. Just break the tower, right? Is there a rule that you have to? You have to do 3 per level. Okay. Oh, Caroline! She was playing well, too. She was really blocking people out. Okay, we heard from Kyle because he is the other option, probably. All right, Caroline loses her vote. Another big result there. Next prediction. How about this? Does each... Hold on. Is it Tuku? Or Lavo? Lavo. Which does each Lavo member get a confessional? Yes, no. So what I'm looking for is every member of Lavo, meaning Saul, Genevieve, and Teeny. Do all 3 of them get a confessional in the next segment? So what they've set up here, of course, is that Genevieve's trying to make this play on Saul. But what they were saying was that they need Caroline's vote to make it happen. Not only has Caroline lost her vote, she never even wanted to vote in that direction in the first place. So it feels like they're telling us that can't work anymore. So So I'm curious to see how we move forward from there in terms of maintaining the illusion that something else might happen. I was curious, or I was interested in sort of digging into how Genevieve approached Gabe for this Saul move, because basically, I think with Sue, she approaches Sue. She says, "Hey, Gabe has been, or Saul has been saying this. Should we vote out Gabe or Saul?" That works, right? For Gabe, personally, I think Gabe is a player that I would probably approach and say, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know, like, Saul has been throwing out your name with Teeny, and I don't want to go in that direction. So, like, what do we do?" Oh my God, are we back already? The counter to that is that I actually liked that she actually had some really good arguments in favor of making the play, which she wouldn't be able to get to if she didn't pitch the play, and it might have come off as too transparent. So ultimately, I really liked how she pitched it. You can get one more vote, or you can have people split votes. Feeling froggy. I'm super curious about what Genevieve's long-term strategy is here. Oh, Rachel. I think she just got drawn in there. Oh no. But they're trying to pull Genevieve in because he didn't get all the info. Is this the right call for Sam? Absolutely. Absolutely. He's being left out of votes. Pull anything you can. Literally, the whole purpose of this move was to keep him as a target for one more round. Use this as an opportunity to restructure things. We need a teeny confessional. There it is. All of lava. I don't think this can be Sue, though. Sue hasn't been in the episode long enough. Oh my god, what if this backfires on Rachel? Sue? Coming to Genevieve? Oh my god, this is wild. Oh, it's such a cool moment for them to go back to Genevieve, the architect of the entire thing. There we go. It could be Kyle. Of course you should have never said anything to Sam. Whoo! That was great. That was a great segment. The answer is yes. Who is voted out? Kyle, Sue, Saul, someone else. That's the prediction. I feel like it's Kyle. I felt like it was Kyle before the episode, which is maybe biasing me. But I thought this felt like Kyle's episode. Now, it definitely could be Saul. I feel like there's no shot at Sue. I think it's Kyle. It could be Saul, is what I will say. Kyle would be my prediction, but Saul at this point would not surprise me. The way it could be Kyle is the plan blew up. Maybe they know it was Rachel, maybe they don't. But now they feel like we know we can't trust some of our votes. Let's just put this on Kyle for now, keep things calm, which is probably what Andy is suggesting. You know, hey, this is all chaos. Why don't we just put one on Kyle for now? We'll do Saul next time. Keep everyone happy and calm. And this could be a near unanimous vote. As unanimous as Survivor gets. This could be an all-in vote on Kyle at this point. Which would be like a disappointing result for such a cool segment, but like... alternatively, you could have, as Honestly says, like, Genevieve might be concerned, could this blow back on me? If this move doesn't go through, will they find out? So I need to make sure it goes through and push even harder. But at that point, things get even more dangerous. So I'm trying to think of like, okay, numbers. There's 10 people in the game. If they take out Kyle, she could still work with the remaining Tuku. Caroline, Gabe, Sue, plus her is 4. Plus Andy, who's willing to make the move soon, if you trust that. Plus Rachel, who was willing to make the move. You all of a sudden start to have a bit of leeway there. But it's definitely dangerous. But yeah, I mean, I think the point is that like a lot of people were looking at Kyle anyway. So like, I think making this move took a lot of pushing in one direction because most other people were pushing in the other direction. And Genevieve was like gathering up all of these pieces and shoving them all in one direction. And then something started to leak through and it just starts to fall out of place. And at that point, path of least resistance is just let it happen and try again next time. But at that point, that could be very dangerous. You could miss your one opportunity. Great episode for Sam, though. I still do feel like he's a top winner contender. I absolutely think this is the call, too. I mean, well played by him to pull the information out of Rachel, to have the guts, for lack of a better term, to just immediately rat that out and make something happen. We're back. Woo! Sue! She said you said Kyle and he said okay, we will do Kyle. I think it's still on Kyle, but that... Yeah, I'm not sure why... Is he trying to change it to Sue? Is he worried about an idol? Is that the thing? They're worried about an idol? It's Sue still? Did it change? Oh my god, they don't know. Okay, this is making me think it will be Kyle. I think they didn't have a chance to fully lock in. I think it will lock in on Kyle. Wait, but that doesn't make sense because everyone else would need to be on board with that. They said you said Kyle afterwards. Okay, they're locking in on Kyle now. Jeff, don't call it out. I'm happy to have them... Same. Teeny knows he's lying. So they didn't all lock in on Kyle? Or they did? We got on. Gabe asking Andy if they're good? I can't tell. I think he was asking Andy if they were good and Andy was saying yes. Which would... You'd presumably think that that means Andy would be good to vote Saul. I'm being told Saul. Teeny's trying to make a play on Gabe. He didn't fall for it though. Oh, and here comes Saul. Saul saying Sue again. Oh, they didn't even mention Sue's idol, though. Jen. They're trying to get the votes for Sue right now. What if they get the votes locked on Sue and then she plays the idol? Okay, there's a lot we're not hearing now. So they could be switching back to Kyle, and we're not hearing it. That would be annoying, though. At this point, if they switched back to Kyle, it would feel frustrating because I feel like we got such a great sense of where and why the votes kept going back and forth. And to just leave out that key piece of information would be annoying to me. Like, at this point, just show us the actual thing. We're about to see it anyway. Especially because if they do lock in on Kyle, we still don't know if the Saul vote is going through. So we'll see. We'll see. From what they've shown us, it should be Sue or Saul at this point. But Sue might play her idol. But they didn't mention Sue's idol. It's possible they didn't mention her idol because they don't need to if she just out and plays one. That's quite frankly the way I would prefer it. They're all looking over, but they're all on that side. She didn't play it. So there are still votes for Saul, at least one. That would be Kyle's, potentially. It is Sue? They locked on Sue. That makes me feel it's Saul. They would have mentioned Sue's idol if she didn't play it and got voted out the same episode. Good attempts. Couldn't make it happen. Was it unanimous? Holy shit, that actually worked. If Genevieve actually wins this season, what a badass. I will say, I'm not sure what the plan is, but man, that looked impressive just in a vacuum. She just feels so impressive. Okay, it was in fact Saul voted out. We were literally just talking about Saul as being a potential up and comer edit wise. However, my reluctance was that he was a little quiet in the first few episodes. Genevieve has the same issue. She just kind of took Saul's place in my eyes in terms of late bloom edit contender. So now it's like Genevieve and Rachel in that spot. Teeny and Sam, who's Sam's starting to pull ahead to me of Teeny. But I'm not completely out on Teeny yet. Sam right now is the only person to me who has had a consistent, very prominent presence, always made to look good, and just had like a big moment, and it didn't even work, but it was still looked super impressive and was a big moment. So I'm definitely still looking at Sam. But like, we should also mention that this is the first episode, I think. Andy, like, we forgot about this, but like, Andy had a massive start to this episode. Huge start to this episode. And then his name never came up. And he just functioned as a normal power player this episode. Just no dodo edit. No, like, he's a little bit, you know, quirky, dysfunctional in any kind of way. He was just like a normal power player in this episode, which is one of the first times I think he's been that way. Even when he's had moments, they've still had like other moments where it's like, oh, Andy. And of course, he has had a very consistent presence. Right here, we're back. The smiling assassin. But see, he's just so prominent. Why is she so mad at Kyle? What has Kyle ever done to Sue? So in my episode with Shannon this week, last week now, I mentioned that I felt like Rachel would have reason to be skeptical of Saul after he saved her with the advantage and then left her out of the following vote. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think we just saw like basically a spot here where like she does accidentally leak the plan, but she was a fairly key vote to making this happen. And if he doesn't leave her out of that previous vote, who knows? Who knows how she responds? Maybe she feels like Saul is a genuine ally for me, and it's worth it to try to make something else happen. I'm not sure. I would love to hear more about that in particular, but yeah, great episode. That was a really good episode. Sam had the most confessionals this episode. See what I mean? See what I mean? I feel like Sam has got to be the front runner at this point, edit-wise. He's been so prominent. He wasn't like, I mean, obviously he was a factor to causing this, and he definitely had, I mean, I think you could definitely say that Sam deserved to be super prominent in this episode. But the most prominent? The most amount of confessionals? Edgic Reddit is all in on Rachel. I could see Rachel. Like I said, I feel like right now there are four main contenders. I think it's Sam, Teeny, and it's Genevieve, Rachel. I think Andy is a wild card pick. Andy to me is like a Tony Vlachos, where like Tony, a lot of people, I don't want to say everyone, but from my memory, a lot of people didn't think Tony was going to win Cagayan because he was too prominent. It was like, no, this guy's not going to win. They showed him being too goofy, too silly, and he's been too in our face. It's got to be somebody else. Andy could be getting the Tony edit. I don't think that's impossible. And then I might also throw in. No, I think it's mostly that, right? Do we think anyone else has a shot at this point? I don't think Gabe. I don't think Sue. I don't think really all of Tuku, I think, is out. I think all of Tuku has just had the weakest edit so far, I think. Of anyone on Tuku, you could maybe say Kyle has like an immunity run and he's like the likable immunity threat win, but like it feels a little far-fetched at this point, but not completely impossible. Because like what I'm saying is the reason why Kyle would have been so quiet in the edit is that he's not a strategic force, and therefore other people are more prominent, but he's still shown to be likable and you're supposed to root for him. But more likely, I think, is that he's just somebody that you're supposed to root for that eventually fails. I think especially damning is that like Gabe and Caroline especially seem to be crushing right now. Like, I think it would be very easy to portray this series of events as Gabe and Caroline dominating this game. They're doing phenomenally. They managed to flip Lavo on Gata and then flip Gata right back on Lavo. Basically, like there's a world where you can tell that story. But that's not the story we're being told. Yeah, I'm not saying that Genevieve isn't the thing that caused it. Clearly, she's the person that made it happen. But what I'm saying is that like the edit can give them more credit than they are if they want to. But yeah, what a great episode. Tribal was fun. The lead up to Tribal was phenomenal. The whole sequence of events of like, this was like one of the best Survivor episodes I've seen in a long time, I think. For me. I think especially because I could be wrong, but I feel like I saw all of the pieces. Genevieve, like, it was Kyle for good reasons. They were thinking of Sam too, but Genevieve pushed Saul, and we understood her reasoning behind it. I don't know her longer term plans, but I know why she's targeting Saul right now, the history they have. We see her pitch it to Sue. We see her pitch it to Gabe. We see the plan come together. We know exactly what their problem is. Caroline has lost her vote. They need to make sure they have extra votes. They go to Andy. Andy's maybe in. They have to go to Rachel. They go to Rachel. Rachel's in. She's not supposed to tell anyone. We're not supposed to tell Sam. Rachel talks to Sam and he reads it on Rachel, finds it out. She confirms. She says, "Don't rat me out." He immediately rats her out, sending the whole thing into a spiral. They then run to Genevieve because they don't realize that Genevieve is the one that sparked this plan or is even in on this plan. And they're saying to Genevieve, oh my God, Genevieve, they're voting out Saul. We've got to do something else. And Genevieve's like, what? And that's so fun. That whole sequence is just so fun. And I followed the entire thing. None of it felt hidden to me. Then we get this whole live tribal situation where, they're going back and forth. Is it Sue? Is it Kyle? And you start to get the sense that, like, yeah, it's probably, like, this side is clearly not locked in enough. Like what we talked about where it's like, oh, well, it's taking a lot of push to get the Saul thing to happen. And so if you relent, it should just default back to Kyle, but clearly there wasn't enough organization for that. And then you have these other little moments. I already talked about the Sam one, but like I love the way Sam approaches Saul, and he's like, this is the most important conversation you're going to have. They're voting you out. That was so fun. I love Teeny trying to gauge Gabe. And if I'm reading this correctly, and I might not be, I think that Teeny asks Gabe about, I'm hearing it's Saul. Gabe denies it. And Teeny reads on Gabe that he's lying to her, or that he's lying to them, and then votes Saul to be in the majority, which, being in the majority there isn't like super, super important. But like, well, no, obviously she knew, she had heard it was Saul. She heard it from the leak. But basically she was trying to guess, she was trying to see like if Gabe was willing to tell them that it was Saul. So that was a cool moment. The challenge was really interesting and fun to watch. The rush over the balance beam. They're just like, I just feel like there wasn't a weak point in that whole episode for me. There were just so many really fun and cool moments. Whew. I'm curious. So the main thing for me is Genevieve pulls this move off. From my perspective, not looking at the edit, this is massively beneficial to to Tuku, more than it is to her. So what is Genevieve's plan? Because Saul is now gone. Genevieve says in confessional that she thinks this burns Teeny and that she won't have Teeny anymore. So no Saul, no Teeny. She's completely given up on Lavo entirely. I assume she feels she still has Andy. But where else are we moving here? She likely knows that Tuku's not united. Caroline and Sue want Kyle out. So you could say that there is an in there to work with Gabe, Caroline, and Sue, but that's a trio you don't want to be locked into. So where do you get the votes? You get Rachel. She talked to Rachel. Her Rachel Andy. Makes a lot of sense. Sam on the outside. If Gada is if Tuku can be convinced to take out Kyle when they probably shouldn't, then all of a sudden you have a forced majority on over Tuku, and it's you, Andy, Rachel, Sam. But that also feels dangerous. I wish I knew what her plan was. Yeah, Sam versus Gabe makes sense. Yeah, I'm curious. Anyway, great episode. I really enjoyed that. I hope you had fun watching with me. I'll be back next week for more Survivor. Chelsea deep dive coming soon. Stay tuned for more streams along the way. Find me on Blue Sky. Tweeting or whatever. Skeeting is just not. I just don't. Maybe this is a me getting old thing. I just feel like if they insist on calling it skeeting, it's not going to work. The platform will not take off. But genuinely, what I've liked about Blue Sky so far is that it has like a tweet deck thing that's actually functional, and they have no rate limits. Like Twitter is broken. It has been broken for so long. So we can. I can start calling it X. What do you even call it on X? Xing? Anyway, you can find me over there. I also have like my actual name instead of my name backwards, which is nice. But anyway, thanks for hanging out. I will see all of you next time.